Today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Meeple Circus. This is a delightful meeple drafting, stacking game in which you're drafting these meeples, similar to Dream Home, the video I had last week, where you have a paired public draft. You pair these two cards together and you draft the meeples that are shown on those cards. And then over 3 rounds, you will create configurations of those meeples based on the current set of objectives or victory point schematas to try to get the most victory points. It's a little bit like Dimension, if you've ever played Dimension, where you're stacking balls in different ways to get them to have certain color configurations or meet certain rules. Same thing with these meeples. You have all these rules, like you want to put the blue ones on the base, you want yellows to not be touching the ground, and then more complicated goals like you want one meeple's leg on a horse and his other leg on another meeple's head, and if you get that, you get 4 points. Things like that. Now there's a really clever, all these are really cool mechanisms, but my favorite is something that kind of caught me off guard. I mentioned that the game is in 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds are rehearsals. In those rounds, you will simultaneously with the other players in about a 2-minute span, it's a timed span, amount of time, you are creating these configurations on your player mat. You're all doing it at the same time, and then when you're all done, you take turns scoring. Now, and the 3rd round is different. And when I heard that it was different, when I got to that round of the game, I was not looking forward to it as much as I thought I would, because I thought that the simultaneous aspect of the game worked so well. The game was flowing really quickly, really fast, really smoothly. We were all doing something at the same time that we could do at the same time. We didn't need to be taking individual turns to do that. But the last round is different. In the last round, you're actually performing. It's not a rehearsal anymore. You are actually, the spotlight is on you. You are the only player who is creating these configurations on your mat. And you're doing that one by one. And like I said, I thought this was not necessary. I thought players could do it simultaneously, and I thought it was a little silly because the goals in that round are a little silly. Like, my goal in my final round was that whenever I put a meeple on the mat, I had to say, and hop, and hop. I had to say that every time I placed a meeple on the mat. And so I thought, well, this is just turned into a silly party game. But I was way wrong, at least for myself, because what this did is it really tied into the thematic elements of this game, of actually having a performance. All the players are looking at you, and you have to, with all this pressure of everyone looking at you, you have to stack your meeples and remember this kind of silly thing that you have to do that creates a bit of a spectacle, a bit of a performance for the other players to be entertained by. You are actually entertaining the other players in a game about a circus, which makes perfect sense. So it kind of made me think about this type of game in a new way. If you do have a game where where you have a few practice rounds, or game rounds that feel a little bit like practice, I kind of like the idea of having a round like this where the spotlight is on you, where the pressure's on you, and everyone's looking at you within a certain amount of time to do a certain thing, and where there might be something a little bit silly to do that you have to do in front of the other players and do consistently. And I should mention that in particular because this is one of the reasons the game doesn't work simultaneously in the last round, because if my job is to say and hop every time I put a meeple on the board, that's my goal. I have to do that to get the points. And the only way I can really monitor that is if the other players are monitoring it. It's really hard to self-monitor if you are doing that correctly. So you kind of need everyone else to be the judges of that performance. I don't exactly know how this could apply to other games, but I'm guessing some of you in the comments will have ideas of other games that have this rehearsal performance element, and how the performance element could actually be a live performance as it is in Meeple Circus. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've played the game, or if you've played other games that have this performance element. Thanks.